Welcome to episode 4 of the New Indian Woman podcast. In today's episode, we will cover part 2 of our discussion with Mala, the clinical psychologist from Sirsi. In the first part, we explored Mala's life and work in brief and the challenges she faced. In case you missed the first part of this interview, do check episode 3 of this podcast. So, in your own experience, I am referring to your own personal experience and not in terms of the people you interact. What do you consider as freedom? In the sense, do you agree that we, as in women of today, living in this current period, we enjoy much more freedom today than our earlier generations? Do you feel that way? And what does freedom mean to you?
For me, I think there are two things. One is freedom at a personal level, and also when we are living in a community, a kind of a collective freedom that for which a lot of adjustments have to be made, yet not compromising on individual freedom. So for this to happen, the prerequisites of this. So for me, I feel, I really feel I'm free because I'm not looking at anyone as being in a place where they have to give me my freedom.
Wonderful.
Sometimes I hear comments from women whom I like, that my husband gives me a lot of freedom.
Yes, I have heard that. I have always wondered.
Yeah. So I feel as long as we are in a position where we put ourselves in a position where we see our freedom as coming from someone else, I wonder whether that is this. So at an individual level, I feel there is a position which we can be in where we are free. But since we are social beings and we are part of
I'm sorry to interrupt here. When you say that we are free, what does the free mean for you? I'm quite interested about what does it mean for you. For example, does it mean being able to do whatever you want to, being able to travel whenever you want to, being able to indulge in whatever you want to? What does it mean exactly? Why I'm saying this is because in the popular culture, see, in today's time, if you see films, books, the coming of age films, so to speak, etc., the portrayal of women's freedom, I somehow feel the range is very different from what I am seeing in my mind as how do I consider myself free versus what is portrayed as freedom in society are two different things. So I would like to understand for you personally, I'm not saying a complete exhaustive list, but a few things that for you means you are free.
Yeah. So during the period of growing up, I feel somewhere what got ingrained was doing things responsibly, and in that doing, being aware of what we were doing, what I was doing, seemed to imply freedom. So it during adolescence, like childhood just passes without us even understanding or knowing what we are doing. But as I grew into adolescence, I remember that trying out different things, but doing it responsibly, became a very meant being free. Like whether it was trying a drink or going out with a boy, being able to do it, that not having someone to say, this is not done, don't do it, but being able to do it, but doing it in a way that doesn't cause harm to myself or to another person. Became my idea of freedom, I guess. I am thinking of this as I'm talking to you. And even today, being able to make a response in any given situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the need arises, then being able to travel, being able to spend for my needs, but being responsible about it in terms of not destroying someone else's
Mm-hmm.
needs in the bargain.
Sure.
I think that is my idea of freedom, where being able to express is also a very important part of my conception of freedom.
Well put, yes.
Yeah. So, in any situation, having the right to respond how I want to do, and hopefully, I should be doing it as responsibly as possible. There would have been times where I have not been responsible enough, but then choosing the response of going back to it and again responding to it appropriately, I think that is my idea of freedom.
Good, good. Well put. You were talking something about that collective freedom part when I interrupted you.
Yeah, yeah. So this is where I feel where my freedom not hampering another person's freedom, especially to the group to which we are directly responsible.
Mm-hmm.
Like whether it is a family or whether it is a workspace. I think that collective freedom, the prerequisite of this is that there should be a lot of communication where people can express what they are feeling at a particular point of time so that we can move from there into collective freedom.
Yes, because the absence of communication can cause much more damage than any wrong communication.
Correct. Very, very true. Assumptions and hurts and so much gets accumulated when there is absence of communication.
Sure. So, do
Yeah.
you also see, I'm saying in terms of your interactions in the society,
Yeah.
amongst people whom you are working with or in your relationships, do you come across and would you like to share some examples where you felt women are misusing their freedom, in the sense that responsible part of it, handling that freedom responsibly? You feel, no, they are not handling it responsibly. And I wish they did not do it this way.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own rights and wrongs, but as a society, sometimes we feel maybe they are not handling this responsibly.
Yeah.
So, have you come across, would you like to discuss some examples of that?
Yeah. I think sometimes I have seen that mothers who are exhausted in their roles of being nurturers, providers, and not having adequate fun themselves, encourage their daughters and sometimes sons also encourage their children they feel that because they don't see these roles, they have not enjoyed these roles of home tasks or a lot of caretaking. I think they somehow communicate directly or indirectly that these are not valuable roles or tasks, and the social appearance of a very well-groomed person, of a very, very fun-loving person. I really feel that I was talking about the power of habit.
Mm-hmm.
I feel if our children and adolescents, whatever the gender, if there is no adequate effort built into their day-to-day life, then out of habit, they do not play the roles. And I think that is responsible for a lot of ill health then, whether it is the absence of physical activity, the leading to obesity, and not cooking your own meals and indiscriminately eating out, ordering on Swiggy. And that is a promotion of a lifestyle that I feel is a result of habit. And it is, I feel, a result of not adequately taking a good look at what we are doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me, in terms of in all these years of managing many things simultaneously, could you share something, whether it is productivity, time management, whatever technique you call it, let us not even label it under any category. What is the one thing that has helped you a lot? I am not referring to the thought process, I am referring to a technique which has practically helped you a lot in handling your multiple responsibilities.
Yeah. See, I think that we don't have, both of us at home, in fact all of us at home, have been flexible about the roles and responsibilities at home, has been very, very helpful.
Okay.
We have, in whatever way, sometimes difficult ways, sometimes easier ways, we have been able to move from our held rigid positions about the roles we have to play. And we have now, there is it's like if a work has to be done, someone does it. That is the position that I feel has been very useful. That my husband has not held on to these roles rigidly has been very, very helpful.
And you were able to achieve that with a lot of intention in terms of discussions, communications, or it just happened? Or a mix of both?
I think his openness to it and his persistence on it, like for example, when work would not be done as well, and even if I have been irritated because of it, I may have given a particular response, but his persistence in doing it and to keep doing it, I think that is also a lot of mental stamina that has helped in this. Like, each of us taking on multiple roles, we have entered areas that have been uncomfortable to each other, but we have been able to tolerate that discomfort that has come with it.
Yeah.
That is
So here
something as an attitude, I would say.
Because I remember you sharing some time back about how you used to feel a little nervous in your initial, when you were setting up home initially, etc., in terms of so many things associated with not knowing to cook or, how to be a host to people, etc., and how that aspect of your life has changed so well.
Yeah, it has definitely changed. So I would like to, you asked about one thing, I would like to put forth 2, 3 points, but very practical.
Okay, most welcome.
Yeah. So one of the things I would also say that to an extent I learned it from you, maybe, as we have been friends, and so not being very rigid about the type of meal. So we cook a lot and there is a lot of diversity, including effort, but whenever needed, food can be very basic, like just fruit, like in the mango season, there have been several meals which have been enjoying mangoes, enjoying different salads. So being open to this has helped a lot practically. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think another thing, I think this would be the star point in terms of being able to managing so much, establishing good relationships with domestic help. So despite our vast cultural differences, with our domestic help, we share a deeper bonding of mutual assistance, of give and take. So these have been long relationships of 19 years, now 23 years, 19 years. A young lady has worked with me side by side, and we share a very different bonding, mutual assistance, give and take. I think that has been critical in being able to manage practical things. And
wonderful.
Yeah, and making use of other resources, like in a major cleaning, like, we live in a independent house. So making use of cleaning help occasionally. And, I don't do it as much now, but in my initial days, I used to do a lot of organizing in terms of the big cleaning around the house has to happen once in 15 days. The smaller cleaning has to happen at least once a week. And later, delegating this work, like there have been stages where we have sometimes impractically tried to do everything ourselves, but we have quickly learned, and then we have learned to delegate that. And also, there are local people who cater from home. So Thursday is one of our busiest days. And we have a woman who cooks from home. So making use of those resources. And still, there are some areas that need better management. And there are still areas that need a little more work.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we have to constantly keep looking at these. These are never over.
True.
Uh,
Yes.
because if they are ever over, then it means that we are not growing with our needs growing and
Absolutely.
changing. So,
True. I
uh,
completely agree
yeah.
with
So
that.
when children are smaller, there are different needs. Now, as we are entering our midlife, our needs are different, our possibilities are different. I think it is wrong to establish home rules at the beginning of our life and then maintain them as the important point for the rest of our life. We have to keep amending them as
Yeah, constantly revisiting them maybe and
yes, yes, revisit
have
and
communication.
yeah. And here another psychological point that I would like to bring in is uh, see this question of we do it this way identity.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think we get too much, we fall too much in love with our identity. And
Mm-hmm.
when you speak about the tension that I used to earlier experience,
Mm-hmm.
the home that I grew up, if a guest came, then this much had to be done, and each of it has to be having this level of quality. And that was the anxiety bringing factor.
Right.
As I accommodated more simplicity and more naturalness and took it as it came, this became a more easy thing to do. Yeah.
Delinking our ego from many of these things maybe.
Yeah, to whatever extent is possible. I
Extent
think,
possible.
yeah, I think the ego persists. It
Hmm.
continues and it is very strong in its own way. So it still disappoints me a lot if a meal is not cooked. Like I don't now mind making a khichdi, but it
Mm-hmm.
has to turn into a good khichdi. It's very disappointing if it is not a good khichdi, and I think that is part of my ego. But it's okay. I mean, I think I can
No, the
recover
fact
part.
is that, give serving khichdi is quite okay, and you are not seeing as yourself as anybody less just because you did not serve biryani and three other dishes.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That is what I,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay. Tell me, what are your hobbies and how do you find time for them? Do you consciously set aside time for something that you would like to do?
Yes. I think playing multiple roles to some extent, I also feel I have spread myself a little thin,
Mm-hmm.
and the challenges that have come because of that. I feel to a small extent, I think my health may have got neglected,
Okay.
and being more conscious about it and giving time to my physical activity. Luckily, we now have a swimming pool here,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, a very beautiful swimming pool. And uh, swimming, I love swimming. So I would say that this is a hobby that I can actually put to everyday practice also.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I love cooking, and that is a hobby, and that becomes a part of day to day life. So, and because my husband also shares this hobby, we often do very interesting things together. There are other things that have got neglected, like singing, drama. If
Okay.
I can find the time, I want to put time into that.
So that is where
Uh,
I'm heading to. I'm segueing into the next question, which is
yeah.
about, can you just list for us a few bucket list items?
Mm.
Things, items, when I say, it may be things that you want to do or things, whatever. It may be things or experiences, whatever. A few.
I want to connect closely to friends and relatives. I think in the multiple tasks that we play throughout the day,
Mm-hmm.
uh, friendships and bondings may be taking a slight backseat.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to connect more closely to more friends and yeah, definitely underlined like-minded relatives,
Okay.
because also
I
very
like that.
cautious about
Huh.
some relatives who can actually they can be toxic. I think relatives
Okay.
can be. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it is a matter about of being conscious of it and keeping a healthy distance.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
And
uh, yeah,
a few more bucket list items.
yeah,
Drama,
uh,
you were saying, so.
yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have adequate theater either to view or to do, but that's something that seems to be, I have not got a chance, but I would have loved to do it. So if it's possible, in some of our projects that we do with the learning project, in some of our activities, I'm hoping that there may be opportunity for that to happen.
Hmm. Nice.
Uh, yeah. And yeah, bucket list, travel a little bit. I am not a very I'm not keen to see the world, but
Mm-hmm.
I want to visit a few places, uh, some places, and I'm sure that will happen. That is not something that is not possible. It will happen.
It will
Uh,
happen. Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. Bucket list. What else? Luckily, I think I have done whatever I have wanted to do. So, uh, not, I can't think of something that I'm yearning to do that I have not been able to do.
That is nice to hear. That is definitely nice to hear.
Yeah.
Now tell me, I'm just going to move on to one very
Huh.
interesting section, a very interesting round, okay,
Huh.
of a few questions where
Yeah.
you will just answer in one word.
Okay.
One thing you started doing after being very intentional about your time.
Relaxing.
Wonderful. I never expected to hear that. So it's nice. One thing you stopped doing.
Stopped doing, putting off work till later.
Okay. One thing you feel happy your child is doing for his or her age.
Being able to love and communicate.
Great. One thing you do as a family together.
Play cards, play games, eat.
Okay. Then, Mala, is there anything that you wanted to share here? Maybe you feel, we did not touch upon?
Mm, I feel you have covered a lot of ground, Krishna. And
Mm-hmm.
I probably, for the first time in 23 years, I sat down to think about so many aspects of myself.
Very nice to hear that.
Whenever there is a particular challenge, I have thought about it separately.
Mm-hmm.
But it's different to think about something while in a crisis and thinking about it to solve a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very different to look at everything as a whole and to cover so much ground. And I gave this separate time, and I think you've covered a lot. I would like to just say one thing,
Mm-hmm.
that in this whole journey so far, and I've just turned 48, and in this journey so far, I feel that the most significant thing for me is that everything is so beautiful
Mm-hmm.
in the positive aspect, and even if it is something as negative as illness or death,
Okay.
because there is the potential for what can be beautiful in it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Not easy to say that.
Very, very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult, but this is something that I feel. I think the experience of my mother's illness and death, and how she dealt with everything till the last moment,
Mm-hmm.
trying to respond in an appropriate way. I think that is all that is there in our hands.
Yes.
And that has to be backed up with a lot of awareness about ourselves and the other.
So the awareness journey, the earlier we started, the better, right?
Exactly, exactly. And that is something that I feel this came to me now when I was like today morning when I was like, what are the challenges? brought up all the pains that have come up.
Mm-hmm.
What are the things I have enjoyed? Brought up all the joys that have come up.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm still eager to do more, I was thinking, shouldn't I have been exhausted by this time? Why am I still?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. And then I feel that there are challenges, like the dearth of resources sometimes is a major challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But still there is a possibility of a response, and the beauty of what is not seen to us at that moment.
Right.
What we may be seeing at that moment may be very, very unpleasant and uncomfortable, but something that is beyond that also.
True.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I think this has been a major learning for me.
Okay. Wonderful, Mala. Thank you so much for coming. And I really hope we will have maybe a round 2 much later. Thanks once again on behalf of all the listeners.
Most welcome, Krishna. Thank you for the opportunity and your questions.
Okay, thank you. In today's episode, we covered the second part of our discussion with Mala, the clinical psychologist from Sirsi. Hope you found many sections of this discussion extremely relevant for you in your journey as the new Indian woman as you discover yourself. Remember, you are what you want to be, and the time starts now.